Hello, fellow coding enthusiasts! Astronaut B here, and I'm thrilled to guide you through an exciting coding journey into the depths of space. Today, we're putting together all of the tools that we've learned about when creating our own functions. We'll be creating a large 4-function program that will be used on my next space mission. We'll be using function signatures, parameters, and return values, as well as reusing functions and incorporating helper functions in our program. But don't worry, I'll be your co-pilot, and together we'll navigate through the creation of this program. Today's mission is a bit more complex than previous ones. We need to move a solar panel 10 times during the day to different locations. Each location will give us some energy that we'll store in a number of batteries. At the end of the day, we'll use these batteries to power a rover and determine how far it can travel on that day. First, we'll take a look at a method that allows us to generate a random number from a minimum value to a maximum value. This function will return a random number between those values. In order to use this, we need to write import random, so the computer knows that we'll be using the random function. If I were to write rand equals random, rand int 510, rand would then contain a value between 5 and 10, inclusive. This is a great way to simulate random events in the real world. For example, if I wanted to simulate picking one of 3 colored balls in a bin, with the colors being red, green, or blue, we could use this code to simulate it. This would generate a number between 0 and 2. Based on the number that is generated, we display the color of the ball that was chosen, red, green, or blue. Another great method that we can use is called sum array. This method automatically sums all of the number values in the passed-in array. It will return the sum as a return value. For example, if we had the array myArray equals 5 to 9, we could write answer equals sum myArray, print answer. What do you think the variable answer would contain? Correct, 16, because the sum of 5, 2, and 9 is 16. For our project, our functions will do 4 things. Generate energy based on weather conditions. Different conditions will generate different ranges of power. Simulate the movement of a solar panel. The solar panels may be moved to areas of shade, clouds, or sun. Calculate the number of batteries charged. A battery can hold 50 units of energy, so we'll determine how many batteries are filled from the energy retrieved. Finally, we will need to estimate how far a rover could travel with charged batteries. One battery can allow the rover to travel a distance of about 75 meters, so we will want to know how far the rover can travel with the battery power that we attain. I'll help you write each method that we need to do these tasks. The first function we'll write is called genEnergyWeather. This function generates energy based on the weather condition, passed as a parameter. We'll first use if statements to check if the weather is shady. If it is, we will generate a random number between 1 and 5 and store that value in a variable named energy. If the weather is cloudy, we'll do the same thing, but this time generate a number between 6 and 10. Do this one more time in an else clause because the only other possibility is sunny. In this case, we generate a number between 11 and 15. We then will print out the weather and energy variables and return the variable energy. Try this in your guided notes now. Here's the completed code. Pause the video again and double check that your code looks like this. Our next method is called move solar panel. This method simulates the movement of the solar panel and generates energy based on random weather conditions. We will again use the random number generator to create a number between 0 and 2. If the number is 0, we'll make a call to the gen energy function with the parameter shady and store the result of that function in a variable named energy. Do the same thing to check if the variable is 1, and this time pass in the variable cloudy. Lastly, use an else statement and this time pass in the variable sunny. Be sure to return the variable energy at the end of the code. Try this in your guided notes now. Here is the completed code. Pause the video again and double check that your code looks like this. Our third function is called batteries charged array. This method calculates the total energy generated by summing up the elements in an array passed as an argument, and then divides it by 50 to estimate the number of batteries charged. We can start by using our built-in sum method to sum up the array and store it in a variable named total energy. Then we'll divide this value by 50 and store the result in a variable named num batteries. Then we'll print out the total energy and return the number of batteries that were charged. Give this a try in your guided notes. Here's the completed code. Pause the video again and double check that your code looks like this. Now, on to our fourth and final function. This method is called how far num batteries. It estimates how far a rover could travel with the given number of batteries. It assumes each battery can travel 75 units of distance. Take the num batteries variable, multiply it by 75, and store it in a variable called distance. This is the distance our rover can travel. Let's return that value as well. Try this in your guided notes now. Here is the completed code. Pause the video again and double check that your code looks like this. Wow, that was a lot of code. We now have 4 completed functions. We can now put them together to run our program. First, we create an empty list called energy array. Then we run a loop 10 times to simulate 10 instances of moving the solar panel, which in turn calls the generate energy function. For each iteration, we append the energy generated to the energy array list. How can we append energy to the energy array? That's right, like this. After generating energy for moving the solar panels to 10 different locations, we calculate the total number of charged batteries using the batteries charged method, passing in the energy array. Then, we estimate the distance traveled by the rover with the charged batteries using the how far method. Finally, we print out the number of batteries charged and the distance traveled. Here is what the program output might look like. Notice all of the random energy values created by our random function. Then, at the end of the output, we get the total energy generated through all these random outputs, the number of batteries charged by that energy, and the distance our rover could move. Pause the video here and analyze the output. Here is a second output of the program. Do you notice that it's different this time? The random numbers have changed because they are simulating moving the solar panels to different locations and retrieving different amounts of sun. Thank you so much for helping me write this program. The code provides a basic simulation of a solar panel system and demonstrates how to calculate energy generation and its practical application in estimating the battery charging and travel distance for a rover. You know, composing music with you all has been an absolute blast, but I've been thinking, wouldn't it be even more incredible if our program could not only accompany me on the piano, but also recognize the songs I'm singing and predict how they'll continue? Imagine this. I start singing a few notes from one of our favorite songs, and our program magically identifies it and even anticipates the next part of the melody. Now that's what I call cosmic harmony. So here's the plan. We've got this library filled with all our beloved tunes, each represented as an array of notes. I'll kick things off by singing the opening notes of one of these songs. And then it's up to us, with a little help from our coding skills, to figure out which song it is. But before we get ahead of ourselves, we need to create a helper function called track distance. This nifty function will help us measure the difference between the start of a song and my singing. We'll feed it the song's notes and the frequencies of the notes I've sung, and it'll work its magic to see how closely I'm hitting those notes. Now, here's where the real fun begins. Inside our track distance function, we'll compare each frequency I sing to the correct frequency for the corresponding note in the song. By summing up these differences, we'll get a sense of just how well I'm matching up to the melody. But fear not, my friends, for we've got some trusty functions at our disposal to make this task a breeze. We'll use note to semitone to convert a note to a semitone, and tone distance to calculate the difference between frequencies. And there you have it. With our track distance function leading the way, we'll soon be able to recognize the songs I sing and predict their next musical moves. Finish this task and then try the next ones in this section. As our coding journey comes to a close, let's take a moment to reflect on the incredible progress we've made. Throughout our mission, we've learned how to create reusable code using functions. These powerful tools have enabled us to design a sophisticated program capable of simulating the behavior of solar panels in various weather conditions and estimating energy storage for powering a rover. We've leveraged built-in functions like randint, allowing us to generate random numbers, and the sum array function that allowed us to sum up values in an array efficiently. This helped to add realism and efficiency to our simulation, demonstrating the power of combining custom functions with existing libraries. Be sure to complete the programming tasks, practice questions, and extension activities before moving on to the next lesson. And remember, in the universe of coding, the possibilities are infinite. See you next time. Hey.